Demon. What images are conjured into your mind when you hear that word? In ancient Greece, demons were thought of in two ways. The word demon could be used to refer to an inner attendant or an inspiring force. In fact, the famous philosopher Socrates said that he lived his life in accordance with the internal dictates of his own, quote, demon. In Socrates' view, demons were more akin to what we would refer to as the soul. The other view of demons in ancient times was that they were beings somewhere in between humans and gods. These demons were not necessarily considered to be malevolent in the ancient Greek view. Demons were thought to be benign, similar in nature to the gods and humans, so widely varied. They were nature spirits, forces of nature, spirit guides. The rising prominence of Christianity would change the way demons were thought of considerably. The modern view paints demons as personifications of wickedness and malevolence. Demons today are typically thought of to be sources of or agents of evil. Demons can also be viewed metaphorically in the modern sense. In the metaphoric sense, there is usually still a negative connotation. For example, a person might refer to their own mental anguish relating to past trauma as inner demons. In this video, we will discuss various literal and metaphorical demons in A Song of Ice and Fire using both the archaic and modern definitions. Considering the ancient definition of the word, both the children of the forest and the others could potentially be considered demons. The children of the forest, which Martin based on the Sidhe of Irish mythology, fill the roles of nature spirits, guardians of the forest. The children are neither good nor evil. The others are also spirits of nature, the personification of winter. It would follow that if the children of the forest are not evil, then neither are the others. The nature of the others simply does not jive with the nature of humans. Coexistence does not seem possible. That being said, it is important to note that coexistence between humans and the children also failed. The children were forced out of their own territory and driven to almost complete extinction by mankind. This goes along with the theme that appears throughout the story. Men have difficulty living with nature and instead seek to subdue and control it. That being said, the inhabitants of the world of Ice and Fire would not likely consider the children to be demons in their sense of the word. There are many other things that would be considered demons in A Song of Ice and Fire, however. Many that even almost conform to our own modern view of the word. Let's take a look at how demons are viewed within the A Song of Ice and Fire universe. According to Dani's blood writers, a magi was a woman who lay with demons and practiced the blackest of sorcery. In Abrahamic mythology, the first woman, Lilith, was said to have turned her back on God and her husband Adam. Refusing to be subservient, she chose instead to lay with demons and was cursed by God for it. This idea of women who lie with demons is also common in many myths about witches in the real world. For power, they would become the brides of Satan himself. So, the Dothraki view of a magi, a witch, as a woman who has lain with demons, aligns with many historical views on witches in our own world. As I mentioned earlier, demons are typically thought of as sources or agents of evil. If gods were beings of benevolence, then demons would be the antithesis. This viewpoint does seem to be present in the A Song of Ice and Fire world. The idea of a demon is met with a negative connotation. Demons in A Song of Ice and Fire, like in our own world, are also sometimes associated with hell. In A Clash of Kings, Arya wonders if Rorge and Biter were in fact not men at all, and in fact were demons that had been called up from some hell by Jack and Hagar. Here you can see demons in the A Song of Ice and Fire universe are associated with hell. So, since so many of our real-world views on demons come from Christianity, we have to consider that perhaps some of the views of the Westerosi on demons arose from their own analog for Christianity, which is, of course, the faith of the Seven. This religion, which was brought to Westeros by the Andals, claims that there are both 7 heavens and 7 hells, descending deeper and deeper. These hells were a place where sinners would be punished. The idea of a layered hell is reminiscent of the way the Christian hell is portrayed in Dante's Divine Comedy, an epic poem that tells the tale of a man's journey through hell and limbo and into heaven eventually. Dante's Inferno is the first cantica of the Divine Comedy, which totally changed the way Christians viewed hell from that point on, giving them a visceral view of what hell may have been like. Botticelli's painting, published 150 years later, provided an even more vivid picture, depicting humans being tortured by beings that could only be described as demons. Like in our own world, throughout the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, demons are pretty much always associated with malice, corruption, and supernatural evil. Places that have been deemed cursed are said to be demon-haunted. There is also mention of human dealings with demons, which are always looked negatively upon. Here are some examples. The smoking sea where Valyria met its doom was mentioned to be demon-hunted in a storm of swords. In A Clash of Kings, Varys says this to Tyrion when describing the circumstances of his mutilation. Was it a god? A demon? Some conjurer's trick? I could not tell you, and I know all the tricks. All I can say for certainty is that he called it, and it answered. And since that day I have hated magic and all those who practice it. Far north beyond the wall, it was said that Craster, who we would later discover gave his sons to the others, quote, trafficked with slavers and demons. The magic of the others is actually referred to multiple times as demonic. In the first book, A Game of Thrones, in a Jon Snow chapter after the Lord Commander is attacked by the undead corpse of a former Night's Watchman, it is stated that whatever demonic force moved Othor had been driven out by the flames. And then there are the number of strange entities said to be worshipped in many queer places throughout their world. Cahor's black goat of the woods, which takes its name from Lovecraftian lore. The pale child Bacalon, who was worshipped in the dark city of Ahai. And even R'hllor, the Red God, was considered to be a demon by some. Like the gods of A Song of Ice and Fire, there are many demons, worshipped, revered, and feared. And also like the gods, their existence can never truly be verified, only hinted at, except considering the children and the others, of course. And then there are the metaphorical demons. Take Arya Stark, for example. She was present at her own father's unjust execution, ripped away from her family and all that she had ever known, forced to take on other identities like Ari or Weasel in order to survive. But who is she on the inside? What is she becoming, and what has she become? How do Arya's inner demons manifest? There's no doubt that they exist, and they grow as the books continue, and as traumatic things continue to happen to Arya, who, let's not forget, is still a child. Arya makes her first kill in A Game of Thrones before Ned is executed. She had reacted out of terror, using Needle to kill a stable boy who had intended to take her to Queen Cersei. Arya does in fact feel guilt in this moment. It mentions that she feels the need to get far away from the stables, away from the boy's accusing eyes. It is also mentioned that at this point, Arya was still frightened in the face of death. The next time Arya kills, it is much more deliberate, and it does not have nearly as much of an effect on her. By that point, during her escape from Harrenhal, Arya has developed a coldness. She kills the guard in order to escape without any remorse. But remember, this is after her father's unjust execution, after the death of her friend Lami and the butcher's boy, after being taken prisoner and beaten. Arya at this point is very traumatized. Life in general has become less valuable to her, and this only intensifies. Arya's past trauma her demons are contributing to the formation of a very dark character. Arya's past trauma, her demons, manifest in deadly ways throughout the series. In the Winds of Winter chapter, Mercy, for instance, we see a version of Arya previously not seen, one that is willing to use sexuality to lure and then coldly kill someone who had wronged her in the past. I have said before that I find Arya's arc in the books to be one of the most disturbing. With all that has happened to her, there's almost no way that she could grow up without carrying tremendous baggage with her. And Arya is not the only one. Sandor Clegane carries his trauma, his demons from his past within him. It manifests in his love of killing and his fear of fire. And perhaps there was always some seed of cruelty within Cersei, but the witch's prophecy certainly shaped the decisions that she made. This leads to her paranoid and delusional behaviors. Arya was greatly traumatized by several things, but for many, all it takes is a single moment to permit the entrance of a demon. Ned was tormented throughout Book 1 by his demons, eaten alive by a secret that he dared not utter aloud. Theon Greyjoy was torn from his home as a boy, and was thrust into a world that he did not recognize, taken in by the Starks, but always knowing that he was not one of them, and never would be. And the rejection of his true family only strengthened his demons. No character in this series is free from demons. They manifest in their own hatred of others, and of themselves. They manifest in their fears and doubts. George R. R. Martin's writing is brilliant because his characters feel real in this way. None are perfect, and all struggle with some demon, supernatural or otherwise. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want to support this channel, consider clicking the link in the description to my Patreon page.